Hello everyone, we are the student of Shivajirao S. Jondhle College of Pharmacy. This project is highlighting on the overview of COVID-19 prepared by Shyam Chaudhary, Sohan Chaudhary, Swarupa Chopade and Vidya Dalvi and guided by Professor Asar Mashfa. Here we will cover under the overview of COVID-19, its introduction, etymology, epidemiology, the whole history, and the overview of COVID-19 in India. Then we will cover what is actually the coronavirus is, its morphology, causes, transmission, signs and symptoms, virology, and how it is replicated. Then pathophysiology, mutations in COVID, and its host factors. After the COVID virus, we will cover identification test for COVID-19, immunity against COVID, prognosis, treatment, and its prevention. Then we will go towards vaccination against COVID, vaccine development in India, vaccination policy, and distribution in India. And finally, end with booster dose and conclusion of our project. Let's start. Here is how the COVID virus looks like. Now, introduction to COVID-19. Coronavirus disease 2019 is a highly contagious viral illness caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is SARS-CoV-2, first reported in Wuhan, Hubei province, China in late December 2019. The world in a short span of time, compelling the World Health Organization WHO to declare it as a global pandemic on March 11, 2020. More than 5.7 million deaths worldwide. Most common symptoms include fever, dry cough, and fatigue. COVID-19 transmits when people breathe in air contaminated by droplets and small airborne particles containing the virus. Then, its etymology. The virus and disease were commonly referred to as coronavirus, Wuhan coronavirus, the coronavirus outbreak, and the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak, with the disease sometimes called Wuhan pneumonia. WHO finalized the official names COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2 on 11 February 2020. Now, epidemiology. Virus is most likely of zoonotic origin from bats or another related mammals. The earliest known infected person fell ill on 1st December 2019. Now, mortality. Case fatality rate, that is CFR. CFR reflects the number of deaths divided by the number of diagnosed cases within a given time interval. Based on Johns Hopkins University statistics, the global death to case ratio is 1.46 as of 6 February 2022. Infection fatality rate ratio IFR. IFR is the cumulative number of deaths attributed to the disease divided by the cumulative number of infected individuals. In November 2020, a review article in Nature reported estimates median range of 0.24 to 1.49%. Now, history of COVID-19. 2019. The outbreak was discovered in Wuhan in November 2019. A pneumonia cluster was observed on 26 December, treated by Dr. Zhang Zixan. On 31st December, the WHO office in China was informed of cases of pneumonia cases, immediately launched an investigation. 2020. On 11 January, WHO was notified by Chinese National Health Commission outbreak was associated with exposures in the market. Thus, China has identified a new type of coronavirus isolated on 7 January. On 30th January, 7818 infections had been confirmed. On 11 March, WHO elevated it to a pandemic. In 2021, on 2nd January, the Alpha variant was first discovered in the UK. On 6th January, the Gamma variant was first identified in Japan. The Delta variant was first identified in India in mid-April. In 2022, on 1st January, Europe passed 100 million cases amid a surge in the Omicron variant. On 5th February, the active cases in India was 4.3 crore. Now, overview of COVID-19 in India. In 2019, On 12 January 2020, the WHO confirmed that a novel coronavirus was the cause of a respiratory illness. Reported to the WHO on 31st December 2019. In 2020, on 30th January 2020, India reported its first case of COVID-19 in Thrissur, Kerala. On 12th March, a 76-year-old man with a travel history to Saudi Arabia became the first COVID-19 fatality of India. On 22nd March 2020, Indian government set a Janta curfew. On 24th March 2020, PM Narendra Modi declared a 3-week nationwide lockdown starting from midnight. In 2021, India began its vaccination program on 16 January 2021. On 30th April, India reported over 4 lakh new cases and over 3,500 deaths in one day, crossed over 1.7 billion COVID vaccination up to 8th Feb 2022. Now, furthermore, I will hand on to Miss Vidya Dalvi.
What is coronavirus? Coronaviruses are a family of viruses that cause illness such as respiratory diseases or gastrointestinal diseases. For example, Middle East respiratory syndrome and severe acute respiratory syndrome. Coronaviruses got their name from the way that they look under microscope. It consists of core of genetic material surrounded by an envelope with protein spikes. As you can see, the protein spikes are shown in image in red color. This gives the appearance of crown. In Latin, the corona means crown. Now let's see morphology of coronavirus. The structure of SARS-CoV-2 is found to be similar to SARS-CoV with virion size ranging from 70 to 90 nanometer. Spike, membrane and envelope surface. Viral proteins of coronavirus are embedded in host membrane derived lipid bilayer encapsulating the helical nucleocapsid comprising viral RNA. How it is caused? COVID-19 is caused by SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 is the seventh known coronavirus to infect people after 229E, NL63, OC43, HKU1, MERS-CoV and the original SARS-CoV. How it is transmitted? It is mainly transmitted via respiratory route. Uh, when people inhale droplets and small airborne particles, the infected people exhale as they breathe, talk, or cough. Signs and symptoms. Three common clusters of symptoms have been identified. One respiratory symptom cluster with cough, sputum, shortness of breath, and fever. A musculoskeletal symptom cluster with muscle and joint pain, headache, and fatigue. And the last, a cluster of digestive symptoms with abdominal pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. Virology. Coronaviruses are envelope positive stranded RNA viruses. Full genome sequencing and phylogenetic analysis indicated that the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 is a beta coronavirus in the same subgenus as the severe acute respiratory syndrome virus, but in a different clade. SARS-CoV-2 binds to ACE2 through the receptor binding domain of its spike protein. Mechanism of replication. After viral entry, it shows some stages like endosomal entry, translation, proteolysis, replication that is viral replication, transcription, translation, virion assembly and exocytosis. Pathophysiology. The lungs are the organs most affected by COVID-19. The virus uses a special surface glycoprotein called spike to connect to the ACE2 receptor and enter the host cell. It also shows effect on other organs like respiratory tract. It infects the ciliated epithelium of nasopharynx and upper airways. Nervous system. The exact mechanism by which it invades the CNS remains unclear. One common symptom, a loss of smell, results from infection of the support cells of the olfactory epithelium. Gastrointestinal tract. ACE2 is abundantly expressed in the glandular cells of gastric, duodenal, and rectal epithelium as well as endothelial cells and enterocytes of the small intestine. Cardiovascular system. ACE2 receptors are highly expressed in the heart and are involved in heart function, cause acute myocardial injury and chronic damage to the cardiovascular system, blood vessel dysfunction and clot formation, clot leading to pulmonary embolism. Other organs, common cause of death is complications related to the kidneys. Mutations, variants of concern. First is Delta. It was first identified in India in December 2020. It is highly transmissible, more transmissible than previously circulating SARS-CoV-2 lineage. Higher risk of severe diseases and hospitalization than with Alpha. Second is Omicron. It was first reported from Botswana, thereafter from South Africa in November 2021. The variant contains over 30 mutations in the spike protein. It is a less severe disease than other variants. Other variants are Alpha. It was first identified in the United Kingdom in late 2020. It contains more than a dozen of mutations and it was approximately 50 to 75% more transmissible. Next is Beta. This variant is also known as 20H by 501YV2 and was identified in South Africa in late 2020. It shares several spike protein mutations. It contains a mutation in spike protein E484K, has the potential to impact immunity from prior infection or vaccination. Gamma, also known as 20J by 501YV3 and was first identified in Japan. It has several mutations including 3 in the spike protein receptor binding domain N501Y, E484K and K417T, which raise concern about the potential for increased transmissibility and an impact on immunity. Viral and host factors. Virus protein. The S protein, otherwise known as the spike protein, is the viral component that attaches to the host receptor via the ACE2 receptor. It includes two subunits, S1 and S2. S1 determines the virus host range and cellular tropism via the receptor binding domain. S2 mediates the membrane fusion of the virus to its potential cell host via the H1 and HR2, which are peptide repeat regions. The M protein, viral protein, is responsible for the transmembrane transport of nutrients. The N and E protein are necessary proteins that interfere with the host immune response. Host factors. Human angiotensin converting enzyme 2 is the host factor. Its effect of the virus on ACE2 cell surfaces leads to leukocytic infiltration, increased blood vessel permeability, alveolar wall permeability, as well as decreased secretion of lung surfactants. Now let's see identification test for COVID-19. First is RT-PCR test, also called a molecular test. This COVID-19 test detects genetic material of the virus using a lab technique called a reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction. The next is antigen test. This COVID-19 test detects certain proteins in the virus. Some antigen test can produce results in minutes. A PCR test called the flu SC2 multiplex assay, it can detect any of three viruses at the same time: the COVID-19 virus, influenza A and influenza B virus. Only a single sample is needed to check for all three viruses. Immunity against COVID. The immune response by humans to SARS-CoV-2 virus occurs as a combination of the cell-mediated immunity and antibody production. B cells interact with T cells and begin dividing before selection into the plasma cell. Memory B cells specific for the spike and nucleocapsid proteins of SARS-CoV-2. Next is prognosis. Mild cases typically recover within 2 weeks, while those with severe or critical diseases may take 3 to 6 weeks to recover. Prolonged prothrombin time and elevated C-reactive protein level on admission to the hospital are associated with severe course of COVID-19 and with a transfer to ICU. Smokers are most likely to require intensive care or die compared to non-smokers. Pre-existing heart and lung diseases and also obesity contributes to an increased health risk of COVID-19. Complications. Complications include otitis. Otitis is the inflammation of ear. Sinusitis. It is the inflammation of nasal sinus. Bronchitis. It is the inflammation of mucous membrane in bronchial tube. Sepsis. Sepsis is the body's extreme response to an infection. Next is meningitis, that is inflammation of meninges. Diarrhea, myocarditis and pneumonia. Longer term effects. People with advanced age, severe disease, prolonged ICU stays, or who smoke are more likely to have long lasting effects, including pulmonary fibrosis. Healthy diet and life cycle. The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health recommends a healthy diet, being physically active, managing psychological stress, and getting enough sleep.
Treatment. There is no specific and effective treatment for cure. Most cases of COVID-19 are mild. Medications such as paracetamol or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs to relieve symptoms like fever, body aches, cough. Proper intake of fluids, rest and nasal breathing. In several cases with low oxygen levels, use of glucocorticoid dexamethasone is strongly recommended. Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation has been used to address the issue of respiratory failure. Here the picture of treatment alternatives for COVID-19. Prevention, face mask and respiratory hygiene. The WHO and the US CDC recommend individuals wear non-medical face covering. Face covering limit the volume and travel distance of expiratory droplets dispersed when talking, breathing and coughing. Hand washing and hygiene. The WHO also recommends that individuals wash hands often with soaps and water for at least 20 seconds. When soap and water are not available, the CDC recommends using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Social distancing includes infection control actions intended to slow the spread of the disease by minimizing close contact between individuals. Methods include quarantines, travel restrictions, and the closing of schools, workplaces, stadiums, theaters, and shopping centers. Surface cleaning. Coronavirus can survive on surface for hours to days. On many surfaces, including glass, some type of plastics, stainless steel, and skin, the virus can remain infective. On some surfaces, including cotton fabric and copper, the virus usually dies after a few hours. Surfaces may be decontaminated with 62 to 70%, 71% ethanol, 50 to 100% isopropanol, 0.1% sodium hypochlorite, 0.5% hydrogen peroxide, and 0.2 to 7.5% povidone iodine. Here are some pictures of sanitizing roads and public places, sanitizing tunnel and sanitizing malls. Self-isolation recommended for those diagnosed with COVID-19 and those who suspect they have been infected. International travel related control measures. A 2021 Cochrane rapid review found that based upon low certainty evidence, International travel related control measures such as restricting cross-border travel may help to contain the spread of COVID-19. Vaccination. A COVID-19 vaccine is a vaccine intended to provide acquired immunity against several acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. As of 1st February 2022, 10.1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered worldwide based on official reports from national public health agencies. The COVID-19 vaccines are widely credited for their role in reducing the severity and death caused by COVID-19. Types of vaccines available against COVID. There are 4 types of vaccines: whole virus vaccine, RNA vaccine, protein vaccine, and viral vector vaccine. Vaccine development and production in India. The Indian government infused Rs 900 crore into the Department of Biotechnology in November 2020. In January 2021, the DCGI initially approved the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine manufactured by the Serum Institute of India under the trade name Covishield. Covaxin, a vaccine development by Bharat Biotech in association with the Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Virology. In April 2021, the DCGI approved the Russian Sputnik V vaccine, which was trialed in India by Dr. Reddy's laboratory. In May 2021, the DCGI approved phase 2 and 3 trials of Covaxin among children 2 to 18. Vaccination policy and distribution in India. India began preparing to vaccinate its population in April 2020. Phase 1 started on 16 January 2021 and targeted 10 million health workers. Phase 2 began on 1st March 2021 to cover 45 plus year olds with comorbidities and 60 plus year olds. Phase 3 of the vaccination campaign was opened up to include all eligible adults 18 plus from 1st May 2021. Phase 4 of the vaccination campaign was opened up to include all eligible children below 18 from 4th Jan 2022. Booster dose. What is the COVID booster dose? The COVID booster dose is another dose of the vaccine. A booster dose is usually administered in diseases where immunity dwindles. If these memory cells are challenged with a COVID booster vaccine dose, they will induce a more sturdy immune response. More antibodies will be produced. Precaution. Booster dose will start from January 10, 2022, starting with the frontline workers and adults aged 16 or more with comorbidities. Conclusion. There are hundreds of coronaviruses, most of which circulate in animals. Only 7 of these viruses infect humans and 4 of them cause symptoms of the common cold. But 3 times in the last 20 years, a coronavirus has jumped from animals to humans to cause several diseases. COVID-19, a new and sometimes deadly respiratory illness that is believed to have originated in a live animal market in China, has spread rapidly throughout that country and the world. The novel coronavirus infections were at first associated with travel from Wuhan, but the virus has now established itself in 177 countries and territories around the world in a rapidly expanding pandemic. The World Health Organization declared the novel coronavirus outbreak a public health emergency and of international concern on January 30. Public health measures implemented in the world will hopefully blunt the spread of the virus while treatment and a vaccine are developed to stop it. Here are some references. We are thankful to our President Dr. Shivajirao Jondhle sir and our Secretary Dr. Geeta Khare ma'am and our Principal of Dr. Nitin Mohire sir. Hope you like this video. For more informative video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.